Welcome to Introduction to Management. So I created this video as a way to introduce the audience to management principles. Right now, we are in an environment where Gen Z, Gen X, millennials are all coalescing together into the workforce, and it's very important that you as a manager know how to lead people of different styles, of different environments, different cultures, whatever it is. You are going to have to bring forth the table proper management principles, proper management skills, and I'm here to help you with that. Whether you're a W-2 worker, an entrepreneur, or somebody who's starting their own business, it doesn't really matter. The principles are the same, and we need to establish a baseline, and I'm here to help you with that because it feels like there's a lot of management issues right now in the workforce. Now, I'm not the type to just say, that's what I've seen and it's anecdotal to me, to my experience. I've had pretty good managers throughout my whole life, pretty good leaders. Now, management is important for various reasons. We're going to go over some statistical data from surveys of different areas that ask people exactly what they think about their managers and how their managers have affected them in the workforce, okay? So, O.C. Tanner research showed that 65% of Americans claimed they were not recognized once throughout the entire year. So, 65% of Americans, right? So what exactly does it say? It's saying that they were not recognized. It means that they were not given attention, or they were not praised enough, or they didn't really have a manager that went and sat with them and said, hey, you know what, you did a good job today. Hey, you know what, this is how you're doing the whole year. This is your expectations. This is where the bar is at, and you're here, you're over it, you're under it, whatever it is. This is very important because as managers, part of the role is communicating to your team, and that's going to be a topic we're going to talk about later on in another video. But think about what the data is saying, right? 65% of Americans claim they were not recognized. Now, we have a stigma of, giving a trophy out to everybody, and everybody gets an award, even if you suck and you do something bad. But I think what this is saying is that they were not recognized in the sense of, hey, you did good at this specific task at this specific time. Now, I'm not saying all employees should get praised or that everybody's going to do the perfect thing all the time, but it would be suitable to praise them the moments that they do something good, right? Because not only does it say that 65% don't like that, but it's also a way to reinforce positive behavior, okay? So in that same study, it shows that 82% feel their supervisors don't recognize their efforts. There we go. 82% are saying, hey, my efforts are going unnoticed. Why should I work extra hours? Why should I put overtime? Why should I respond on my time off to emails, to teams, when I'm not even getting recognized for it? Managers, you're vital to the operation. You need to be doing these things. You need to be at least giving them, a thumbs up or an email, a courtesy email saying, congratulations, you did awesome this week, or look at our KPIs, we performed better this week because we did X, Y, and Z. But if the employees on surveys are specifically saying that they don't feel that they're being recognized for their efforts, this is a pretty big area of improvement for managers all across the board. So in that same study, 60% say they are more motivated by recognition than money. Now, I'll be honest, I think, yes, recognition is pretty important, but let's not be frank here. If somebody wasn't getting paid what they wanted to, this survey might show different numbers, right? So let's say they had a cap of, I want to get paid, I don't know, $100,000 a year. They meet that $100,000 a year, and then they'd say, well, I have a pretty good lifestyle, but to be honest, I want to get recognized more, so I'll take the pay cut. It could happen, but if you're in a rough situation, would you really take the pay cut for more recognition? Probably not, right? I think this result might have been a little bit biased because people were in good standards of living that they were willing to take that pay cut. But nonetheless, I think what's important here is that they are willing to take a pay cut to get more motivation through recognition, right? So that's the end of this survey, and I kind of want to talk about it a little bit more because it is important to consider as a manager when it comes to employee retention, especially, and employee performance, because these are going to be directly correlated to that. So pause the video right now and think about the last month's communication that you've had with your team. How many times did you praise them? How many times did you bring up something that was good? How many times did you try to show them recognition? I'm not saying to go and get them freaking trophies or plaques or employee of the years type stuff. Employee of the year would be pretty good, but employee of the week or whatever, yeah, I'm not saying go and spend money on that. I'm saying if something is done good, at least recognize the employees. And if you really feel that you shouldn't and that you won't because you don't want to recognize somebody for doing their job, then I'm going to be honest with you, you're going to lead them to failure. Because what the employees are saying themselves is that that's what they want. And you have to understand your employees are the ones that are in the front lines talking to the customer. They're a picture, they're an actual image of your business. And if you don't have motivated employees who care about the business, if you don't have motivated employees that are going to care about the customer, that are going to care about the future of what you as a manager or a business owner want for them and for your own future, right? Like if you're a manager and your employees performing freaking great, guess what? You're going to have people come and ask you, hey, how are you doing it? How are your employees performing this well? Or you have a business and your employees all care about the business and it shows, right? You're on that Chick-fil-A vibe. It's pretty apparent, right? If you can't sacrifice a little bit of time to recognize the employees, then your business is gonna fail. It's that simple, okay? It might succeed for a while. You're gonna be on the grind. You're gonna be, freaking 12-hour shifts, 14-hour shifts. Everybody's gonna be motivated, but guess what? It's gonna burn out. And that's where the difference of a long-term business and a long-term operation starts separating itself from a short-term game. Next survey, Business Insider survey showed that 1/4 of employees feel burnout when their coworkers go on vacation. Okay, managers, this is very important. If you're going to manage a team, you need to have contingency plans for when somebody goes on vacation. It's that simple. If you need to get off the desk, if you need to go on the front lines, if you need to start doing work, guess what? That's what you need to do. Or you need to move people around, or you need to have a task already set and planned for when people go on vacation, not, oh, snap, this person's going on vacation. What are we going to do? Quick, what do you do? What do you mean? No, you need to know what they do. You as a manager need to know what your employees do. Now, I'm not saying you need to understand the day-to-day operation to the T, right? Because you're managing, you're doing other stuff, you have KPIs, you have reportings, you have all this other stuff that you got to take care of. But your employees that work with each other need to know what they do if somebody else leaves. When I was in the Marine Corps, one of the things that they taught that was pretty extreme was if the person to the right of you dies in combat, you need to know what to do. Right? You need to take charge and you need to start leading. And that's a principle that I took with me out of the military. The team should be able to do the tasks that the person next to them is doing. I understand that one might be a supervisor and one might be a manager, or one's a clerk and one's a supervisor, but it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, somebody's gone, somebody quit, something crazy happens, they get sick, I don't know. Who's going to take that spot, right? The team needs to be trained. So you're seeing it right here, 1/4 of employees, 25% feel burnout at the time that another employee takes vacation. That's probably because they're either not trained or it's just too much work for one person. But nonetheless, that's when you kind of pull resources from your other team and you start allocating them in those missing gaps. All right, same survey. 85% feel burnout in general and 16% say they feel burnout every day. Burnout is insane right now, right? People are working, the long hours, they're putting in the effort, people are trying to retire early. It's pretty crazy right now in the workforce. You have some generations doing the silent quitting where, they're leaving work without really saying anything and they don't come back anymore. But on the other half, you have these surveys that are showing that the people that are staying are feeling burned out. I really think that a lot of this could go into the operational processes that are in place at a business, and I do have a video where I want to talk more about that in depth, but if you don't know if your employees feel burnout because they don't bring it up to you, do a survey, ask them, hey, how do you guys feel? Oh, I'm good. You're the manager, you might be the boss. They're not going to tell you the truth. Do a survey, send it out, have them respond to you, have it be anonymous, and then work through that, okay? Find the gaps and plug them in. If the employees feel burnout, there could be operational processes that you can improve, or there might be, you might need somebody else, okay? It's that simple. You might need another person. And I promise you that if you have a team that does not burn out, you have a better performing team because they're going to give out at some point, okay? You need to have a team that is motivated, that is ready to go, and yeah, that is grinding. And you know what? If they feel burnout, but they are so devoted to the company that they see the efforts that you're putting in, it could be worth it, It could be worth you getting another person. If they work very well burnt out, think about the amount of tasks and the amount of stuff they can get done if they are actually at 100%. Same survey, 59% of employees on vacation still use their work email. I'm sorry to say, but the more you climb the totem pole and the more stuff that you're in charge of, the more people, the employees, the amount of branches, as it starts getting crazier and crazier, and it's just a lot of stuff that you're taking care of. Yeah, it's very likely you're going to have to start answering calls on your vacation time. There's some stuff that is so obvious that you shouldn't be called for. If somebody's calling you about stuff that they can take care of, for example, I don't know, somebody's outside loitering and they call you, hey, what do I do? Well, call the cops. What do you mean? Common sense. If somebody calls you, hey, how do I pull this report? This happened to this employee, driver's late for delivery. What do I do? There's some stuff that the operation should know how to handle. So either one, you have a team that's not properly trained, or two, you've trained them as best as you can multiple times, and it's just the same person over and over again calling you for, stupid stuff. Yeah, just terminate them if they're not fit for the task. But the point is, you should only be called on your time off, or you should be following teams or whatever on your time off if it's something that is abnormally extreme. Now, if you're a W-2 employee and you're being called on your time off this often, you need to raise your hand and you need to be vocal about these concerns, because guess what? You're going to get burnout too, okay? The task is simple. It doesn't take anything. Sometimes, I have to reply to an email and it takes me 2 seconds because I already know the answer. That's fine. But if it's something so extreme that you need to really be on your laptop, I don't know. Personally, you need to be vocal about it. Everybody has different thresholds that they want to handle for work on their time off. If you're somebody that enjoys your time off, and and the business just can't offer it to you, it might be useful to switch departments. But the point here is that 59% of them are using their emails on vacation time. I'm guilty of that. I have to. I don't have a choice. But if it bothers you that much, it may be worth just finding another organization to work for. At least tailor your resume or speak to your boss. If you are the boss, then guess what? That's what it means to have a business, right? But regardless, the section is still useful information for a manager to at least start keeping an eye on, right? I'm not saying that nobody should respond to their emails on their vacation time or their time off. I understand the business has to keep going, the operation has to keep flowing, but at least keep it in mind, okay? Moving forward, just see how often they reply and see where you can start filling in gaps and why they're replying. So the next survey is pretty good. It's from the American Psychological Association, and it estimates more than $500 billion is siphoned off the U.S. economy because of workplace stress, which is insane. What it means by saying that $500 billion were siphoned off the U.S. economy through stress, it means that people were so stressed that they either went to the doctor, they called in, they didn't go to work, they basically didn't work due to stress. So let's pause real quick. Again, if you're a manager, if you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur that is soon going to have people under you and you're going to have to start managing, think of this. How many times has somebody called in and said, you know what, I'm just tired. Oh, I feel sick. Or, they'll probably won't say I feel tired or I feel stressed, but they might say, hey, I feel sick. Oh, yeah, man, I have a stomach ache. Yeah, I just don't feel good today. I'd say consider those as well, right? Because they might not specifically say stress to you if you're the boss. They don't want to say that. They might say sick. So think about the context. If you can kind of match it, I'd say consider it as stress. What this is saying is that the amount of times that people call in because of that has equaled to $500 billion in losses. So let's do an example, right? You are a restaurant owner and you have a waitress call in. And that waitress calling in has caused customers to leave, has caused delays, bad reviews. I don't know. It's something that negatively impacted you because you were short one person you were not expecting to be short, right? This is saying that that money you would have gained was siphoned off. So let's say, for example, one person calling in cost you, I don't know, maybe $500 for that shift. well, that $500 would go into this study. Another example, you work at a logistics company and you have a driver that calls in. Guess what? You don't have a load to move. Think about how much that cost you, right? That freight that you lost for that shift or that day has basically vanished because you don't have any way to move it. That's a pretty big loss, right? You're talking about probably $3,000 that you could have lost in that movement. So if you're a manager, you have employees calling in for stress and you haven't fixed it, guess what? Your bottom line is being affected. You're losing money because of this, okay? Take care of your employees, the employees will take care of you, and they will take care of the business. Pretty much. Pretty simple, right? The next survey was from Deloitte. It was a global survey, thousands of people involved, and it revolves mainly around sustainability. 46% of respondents stated that they would like to work for a business that generates more jobs. I mean, that's pretty straightforward, right? If you have a business that's growing, you're going to get more people in as opposed to businesses that are laying people off. So I think everybody can kind of relate to that, right? You would want to work for a growing company as opposed to a shrinking one, or a company that has been known to lay off employees might be something negative, is what people are saying globally. 71% of respondents think businesses can do more for areas of concern, such as resource scarcity. I think that was a crazy question for them to ask because it's really going to depend on what area you work in, right? If you are in Chile and they're mining a lot of ore and it's affecting your rivers, you're obviously going to vote pretty big for this. If you're American, maybe it doesn't really matter that much to you. Maybe it's not on the top of your list at least. But it's going to vary. I think this response is just going to vary based on their specific region that they answered in. 56% of respondents said that they would want to work for a business that is supporting climate change. Basically that the CEO or your managers or people who are over that person are aware of climate change and they're doing efforts at least in the business area to limit their footprint. 50% want an ethical workplace. That is just crazy to me that that's only 50%, to be honest. I don't know what the other 50% wants. If it's not an ethical workplace, I guess they want an unethical workplace. I'll be honest. When I read that one, I thought this survey is voided. There's no point. Now, this survey response was very good. 63% think that the biggest barrier of innovation is their management. And this is why I'm making this video, right? Because if you're a manager, if you're a business owner, and just remember, if you're a business owner, you're everything, okay? You're a manager. You have to manage employees. If you want to be a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur who's in the route to become a manager, or you're going to start your own business, or that's your goal, you're already starting on the side, you need to have management skills. If not, then you're a W-2 employee, and guess what? You're going to have people under you at some point. You might only have one, you might have 100. It doesn't matter. You need to know how to be a manager. And right here, 63% are saying my manager is limiting innovation in the company. And I'll be honest, I do see this happen often, especially with management who's been in that specific spot for a long time. That is my experience. That's normally where you get the most pushback, is from management they've worked for the same company for over a decade. They've been there since the company started, and they're already there 40, 50 years, I don't know. But there is obviously a lack of understanding of how the world is revolving around you, especially in the eyes of your competitor. If you've been in the same company and you just worked there for so long that it's something that is ingrained to you to do a certain manner, and you just limit the growth of your operation because you're afraid of change. If your employees have recommendations, please take them into consideration. Remember, you're a manager, you're human. You're not going to have the best ideas all the time. You're not going to create something new every month, every year. And there could be something that your employees are seeing that you're not. And they're in the front line. So guess what? They're probably right. If you hear it from more than one person, if it's a good recommendation, take it into consideration, bring it up, and I promise you that your operation will flow a lot smoother. All right, last survey for the video. A survey done by Percipitex, sorry if I said that wrong, where they asked 3,000 employees about their manager experience. Okay, so let's see what these 3,000 employees said. 2/3 say they can do their manager's job better than they can. All right, look, we all think that, honestly. at some point, something stupid happens and you're like, oh, I could have done way better than that. Look, honestly, I think that question is a loaded question because you're going to say you can do something you've never done, right? If you've ever been promoted or if you've ever stepped onto a role that has been a higher position role, you know firsthand how crazy some of those promotions are, right? Like you went from having this much responsibility to just boom, you're in charge of 100 people, you're doing recruitment, you're doing KPIs, you're in charge of the P&L. It's not true. Yeah, I mean, sure, it is true. 2/3 are saying that they can do their manager's job better than they can, but just because you think it doesn't mean you can do it. I'm not trying to not motivate people to want to be in that position, but just know there's a big difference between actually doing it and being firsthand and seeing the whole operation as a manager as opposed to a supervisor or a clerk. Because as a clerk or a supervisor, you're seeing it like this. And as a manager, you should be seeing it like this, right? You're seeing how the all the departments are connected together and all different areas all come together as one. As a supervisor, you're just focused on your one task, right? It's pretty easy, but at least it's good that they think that way. If the opportunity comes, they might raise their hand, but who knows? All right, so that first question was kind of me, but I wanted to put it in there because I'm being transparent with you guys. I want to show you guys exactly what the survey said as opposed to just nitpicking and showing you what I want to show you. I'm going to put these links there in the description as well. So they also said that they prefer managers who are responsive as opposed to managers who are low responsive. What that means is that they prefer managers who communicate with the team as opposed to managers who just kind of sit on the desk and don't say anything. Obviously, I think we would all want that, right? We all want to be told how the company's doing, how the department's doing, how the team's doing. It's pretty important as a manager to have proper communication, which is what we're going to talk about in one of the videos. So stay tuned. Over 30% of employees would like more frequent communication, including formal one-on-ones. So I think that's pretty good. If you have a third of your team saying that they want more one-on-ones, guess what that means? That's what you, honestly, as a manager, if you hear that, that should motivate you because it means your employees are receptive to learning. They're saying, hey, I want to know what I'm doing wrong and I want to get better. You as a manager, you need to take advantage of that and you need to push for that. You should want your employees to do that. And if you right now you're really not doing one-on-ones, guess what? 1/3 of your workforce might want that. And I'll tell you right now, it's not even about want. You should be doing one-on-one coachings because if you're not, you're lacking far behind and you're not going to get where you want to be. Okay? Do one-on-ones. The employees are telling you they want to get one-on-ones and that they want more communication. And guess what? The more your employees know, the more they understand, the better the business is going to do. Okay? This goes for W-2, for your own business owners. It doesn't matter. Both are going to benefit from this. So do one-on-ones, communicate more. All right, so this one's good. Employees working for a great boss report better work environments, decrease negative coping behavior, and are 2.5 times more likely to be engaged and advocate for the business or brand. Be a good boss, take care of your team will take care of you. That's pretty much plain and simple what this is, okay? If you do what you need to do, if you are the manager that you wanted growing up, guess what? The team will perform better, all right? So do better, you get better. Pretty simple. 80% of employees state they are more likely to align their goals with the organization's future vision and have a sense of belonging if they have a good boss. It all goes back full circle, all right? Managers, boss, it doesn't matter. You need to be good, you need to be a good manager, and it's going to pay off. Why? Because it's going to affect your bottom line. We saw it, right? You're losing money if you're a bad manager. Employees want more communication from you. Employees want one-on-one coaching, and it's affecting them negatively in their personal life if they don't have a good manager. And if you have a good manager, the business is going to grow. It's that simple. Now, some of you might be saying, well, this is kind of obvious, right? Yeah, it is obvious. But guess what? The surveys are kind of showing you that not everybody is doing that. right? That's what my point was, is that something so obvious isn't being done across the board. If you, right now, you watch this video and you say, well, I feel like that really didn't apply to me. Guess what? I'm not saying you're a bad manager. I'm just saying you need to open your mind a little bit. Because there's always room for improvement. Look back at the surveys, look back at the video, take notes, take into consideration what you can improve from the surveys that were conducted. Because guess what? Surveys are so crucial to the growth of a good manager. Okay? If you are the owner, if you're a business owner, if you're the W-2 manager, if you're a high-end manager, somebody who's really high, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The principles are the same and the foundation is the same. You need to have communication. You need to be a good leader and manager. And you need to make the team work for the business and have the business work for the employees. It's give and take, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm going to upload so many videos regarding management, leadership, communication, employee turnover, hiring, financial statements, all that good stuff. But I want to make one thing clear. Bridging mindset is not just about the business side, all right? What I want this channel to grow into is a community of people that understand that there's balance in things, okay? And that's the idea of bridging mindset, is to not lean on one side. You want to be completely balanced in what you're doing, which is why we're also going to go over some important psychological, mental barriers that you might have, budgeting in your personal life, because, I mean, believe it or not, the financial circumstances that surround your personal life will impact your business life, indirectly or directly by just your performance, okay? So I'm going to go over how to budget, credit cards, stocks. I'm not actually going to cover stocks, but there's something very important that I want to talk about that. But so again, that's the goal of bridging mindset, is for you to get understanding of various topics from various fields, so you as a person can make better decisions, and ultimately that'll trickle down to your business, okay? The choices you make outside of work and in your personal life will impact your business. And make sure those choices are good, and that's what I'm here for, to help you guys out. So, thanks for joining. I'll see you in the next video.